అదే అదే చేస్తాను సార్. నిన్న మొన్న అయింది సార్, బాగానే అయింది. మరి ఇవాళ 186 186. ఆ, ఆ. ఇది సార్, ఇది లేదు సార్, కంట్రోల్స్. సెట్టింగ్ లో వెళ్ళాలి. అంటే అచ్చా అచ్చా, స్ట్రీమింగ్ స్టార్ట్ స్ట్రీమింగ్ క్లిక్ చేయద్దా? హాయ్ ఫ్రెండ్స్, హలో, వెల్కమ్ టు లెట్స్ క్రాక్ UPSC CSE ఇంగ్లీష్. India's largest online learning platform, Unacademy. From Unacademy, you will be getting daily live classes, live tests, quizzes, structured courses, unlimited access to videos on UPSC prelims and mains. Download Unacademy learning app and get daily free live classes. This is Kiran Anishetti, faculty for Political Science, Public Administration, Polity, Issues in Governance and Ethics. I have done my MBA, MA in Political Science and Public Administration. I have qualified UGC NET in both the subjects, Political Science and Public Administration. I have attempted 7 times civils prelims with Public Administration optional. Those times we used to have Public Administration optional in prelims. 4 times I wrote my mains with Public Administration as first optional. I have more than 10 years of experience. I have taught in Telangana STIAS study circle. I have taught in Telangana Minority IAS study circle, Super 60 IAS Academy Hyderabad, Narayana IAS Academy Hyderabad, Challengers IAS Academy Hyderabad. If you have any doubts, queries, you please contact me on this number 9652583905. If you have any queries, doubts, you can contact me on this Telegram channel, polity _with_ Kiran Anishetti. My profile link, Unacademy profile link is unacademy.com@Kiran.Anishetti. Friends, today we are going to discuss very important topic, recommendations of important committees on center-state relations. In my previous class, we discussed Sarkaria Commission recommendations. Today we are going to discuss the recommendations of MM Poonchi Commission. Friends, you can prepare with the top educators of Unacademy, such as Roman Saini, Mrunal Patel, etc. You will be getting the course material and videos on polity, governance, geography, environmental issues, ethics, etc. You can subscribe Unacademy Plus subscription. For 12 months, it is 44,000, and for 24 months, it is 64,000. I strongly recommend for 24 months because 2 years time is optimum for the aspirant to groom himself to crack UPSC. If you use my promo code, that is capital KIRAN, you will be getting 10% discount both for 12 months as well as 24 months. Unacademy has come up with a new subscription model, that is iconic subscription. I strongly recommend iconic subscription because in iconic subscription, you will be getting personal mentorship from the faculty, daily live classes, daily questions on mains, and personalized feedback from the educator. For one year, that is 12 months, it is 64,000. After the discount, it will be 57,600 if you use my promo code, that is capital KIRAN. And for 24 months, that is 2 years, it is 89,100 after 10% discount. Here also I recommend for 24 months subscription because 2 years time period is optimum for the aspirants. If you use my promo code, you will be getting my personalized mentorship with regard to political science optional, public administration optional, CS papers, polity, issues in governance, and ethics. In this session, friends, we will discuss the important recommendations of Punchi Commission, the second commission on center-state relations. This commission was constituted in 2007 and it submitted its report in 2010. The recommendations of this committee are very, very important, friends. A few years ago in public administration optional, direct question was asked. What are the important recommendations of Punchi Commission? What are the important recommendations of Punchi Commission? Hence, the question may be asked based on fact, directly asking the important recommendations of Punchi Commission, or the question may be issue based. Issue based. What do you mean to say issue based? If I'm not wrong, it was in 2017 mains in General Studies Polity and Issues in Governance paper. The question was asked, what is competitive federalism? What is cooperative federalism? What are the structural hindrances to achieve cooperative federalism? What is competitive federalism? What is cooperative federalism? And what are the structural hindrances to achieve cooperative federalism? What do you mean to say structural hindrances? What does it mean? Here, structural hindrances refer to constitutional amendments. The examiner is asking whether we need to have any constitutional amendments to improve center-state relations. That was the question. That was the question. In this context, Instead of writing the answer from our own opinion, according to my opinion, this this article of the Constitution should be amended. This particular article of the Constitution should be amended. Instead of writing that, as if we are writing our own opinions, if we take the help of recommendations of these important committees on center-state relations, our answer will have weight. The answer will have weight. For instance, as Punchi Commission says, Article 163 should be amended so that the tremendous discretionary powers of the governor under Article 163 can be reduced. This is how we can write the answer. The recommendations of these important committees are important in two aspects from two angles. One is directly the examiner may ask fact-based question, or the examiner we in order to substantiate our answer, we may adduce the important recommendations of this commission. This is how the recommendations of these commissions are very, very important. One by one, we will discuss the important recommendations of this committee. The commission recommended for amendment of Article 356 so that the president rule can be localized. Commission recommended for the amendment of Article 356 so that the president rule can be localized. What do you mean to say localizing president rule? Is like the way we localized national emergency by passing 42nd Amendment Act. According to 42nd Amendment Act, president rule can be imposed in entire nation or in particular part of the nation. In the same way, Punchi Commission is recommending that Article 356 should be amended so that the president rule can be localized. Localized means instead of imposing the president rule across the state, you can impose president rule in particular area of the state. For instance, in a particular district or in group of districts or even particular part of the district. What is the significance if president rule is to be localized? There will not be any exigency to suspend the state government. There will not be any compulsion to suspend the state legislature. Hence, the misutilization of Article 356 can be reduced. Why Article 356 is misutilized for the most number of times? It is because to suspend the government, the state government in power. But if the president rule is localized, you need not, there will not be any need to suspend there will not be any need to suspend the state government. This is how we can reduce the misutilization of Article 356 by amending Article 356 that the president rule can be localized. Next important recommendation, Article 163 should be amended to reduce the discretionary powers of the government. Article 163 should be amended to reduce the discretionary powers of the governor. In our previous session on governor, we clearly discussed that the governor of the state will have tremendous discretionary power. The governor of the state will have tremendous discretionary power. What does Article 163 say? There shall be Council of Ministers headed by Chief Minister to aid and advise the governor, who acts in accordance with such advice, except in those except in those circumstances where he needs to act in his discretion. Once again, I repeat, Article 163 says, there shall be Council of Ministers headed by Chief Minister to aid and advise the governor, who acts in accordance with such advice, except in those circumstances where he needs to act in his discretion. Right? What are those circumstances in which the governor needs to act in his discretion? They are not mentioned in the Constitution. Article 163, Provision 2. Article 163, Provision 2 says, Article 163, Provision 2. Article 163, Provision 2 says, it is up to the governor in which instances he ought to or ought not to act in his discretion. Article 163, Provision 2 says, it is up to the governor in which instances he ought to or ought not to act in his discretion. That means it is purely left to the discretion of the governor in which instances he needs to act in his discretion without advice of Council of Ministers. These two provisions, Article 163 Provision 1 and Article 163 Provision 2, both of them bestow tremendous discretionary powers. Both of them bestow tremendous discretionary powers. Both of them bestow tremendous discretionary power. In Arunachal Pradesh, when the governor himself appointed the speaker to conduct the sessions of assembly, Arunachal, not this present government, earlier government, uh, it it lost majority. It lost majority. It lost majority in the assembly because of defection. Somehow or the other, just a minute. It lost majority in assembly, and the chief minister is avoiding, Council of Ministers headed by chief minister was avoiding facing assembly because of the fear of being defeated in the assembly. Because their party cadre, their MLAs defected to opposition party. Some pretext or the other, Council of Ministers was evading assembly. In that context, governor, he he himself appointed a speaker and he summoned the sessions of assembly so that the Council of Ministers headed by Chief Minister would prove its majority in the assembly. The case went to Supreme Court, and in Supreme Court, Attorney General quoted only two articles. One is Article 163 and the other is Article 361. Under Article 163 Provision 1 and Provision 2, as we have just discussed, the governor of the state has tremendous discretionary powers. According to Article 361, the governor and president of India, they are not answerable to any court of law for the performance of their duties and functions. So these articles, they clearly reflect the tremendous discretionary powers that has been bestowed in the office of the governor. Hence, don't draw analogy between the office of the president and office of the governor. Article 74 says there shall be council of ministers headed by prime minister to aid and advise the president, who shall act in accordance with such advice. The word shall has been used. Who shall act in accordance with such advice? But on the other hand, if we observe Article 163, Provision 1, which says there shall be council of ministers headed by chief minister to aid and advise the governor, who acts in accordance with such advice, except in those circumstances, he needs to act in his discretion. So the word shall is not there in Article 163. And apart from that, Article 163 says, except in those circumstances where he needs to act in his discretion. Article 163 Provision 2 says, it is up to the governor in which instances he ought or ought not to act in his discretion. These two articles bestow tremendous discretionary powers on the governor. This is why M.M. Poonchi Commission recommended for amendment of Article 163 so that the discretionary powers of the governor can be curtailed. M.M. Poonchi Commission laid down guidelines with regard to appointment of chief minister in case of hung assembly. The way in Karnataka there was hung assembly a few years ago. I think it was in 2018, March, April. Elections were held for Karnataka Legislative Assembly. Elections were held. There was hung assembly. And in recent time in Madhya Pradesh, almost all the instance, it was also almost all the case of hung assembly. The M.M. Poonchi Commission clearly laid down the guidelines for appointment of chief minister and council of ministers in case of hung assembly, in case of fractured mandate, in case of fractured mandate. No party gets majority in the elections. What are these guidelines? These guidelines are first preference should be given to the largest coalition with three-pole alliance. First preference should be given to the largest coalition with three-pole alliance. Why here emphasis is laid on three-pole alliance? In case of Karnataka, Congress and JDU, they never had three-pole alliance. They had post-pole alliance. Why the governor should give preference to three-pole alliance rather than post-pole alliance? What could be the reason? It is because when the coalition partners have three-pole alliance, they will have common manifesto. That common manifesto, they will be going in front of, with common manifesto, they will be going in front of the voter. Yes, the voter will know the manifesto of the political parties in the coalition. Here, people alliance is an preference because voter will be knowing which party is on which side, what are their political ideologies, and for what objectives they are going to work if they are voted to power. These things will become clear to the voter before the elections. That's why people alliance is given preference. If this is not possible, second preference will be second largest party with the support of other parties. Second largest party with the support of other parties. Second largest, single largest party with the support of other parties. Single largest party with the support of other parties. Then the largest coalition, if single largest party with the support of other parties, if it is not possible, then the largest coalition with all parties joining in the government. The third preference will be the largest coalition with all parties joining in the government. With all parties joining in the government. What will, what will be the benefit if all parties join in the government? The government will be stable. All parties joining in the government means the parties will be accepting ministerial berths. That is the meaning of all parties joining in the government. When a party accepts ministerial berth, generally that party will not take back its support to the government because of the allurement of cabinet portfolio or ministerial berth. Yes. The government will be more stable if all parties join in the government. Fourth preference, coalition in which some parties joining in the government and some other parties not joining in the government. This is how these guidelines were laid by Poonchi Commission for the formation of government, state government in case of Hanga Assembly. These guidelines you can quote in the exam if there is any question on recent hung assemblies, whether it is in Karnataka or Madhya Pradesh, what the governor could have done, you can adduce these recommendations and guidelines laid down by Poonchi Commission. Next, the Convention of Appointment of Governor as Chancellor of State Universities should be done away with. At present, the convention is that the president is chancellor of central universities, the governor is chancellor of state university. So this convention should be removed. And always remember one point, friends, very important factor, very important fact. The powers and functions of the governor as chancellor of universities are determined by the law made by state legislature. Powers and functions of the governor are determined by the law made by state legislature, not by the constitution. The law made by state legislature. The normal tenure of the governor should not be disturbed. The constitutional sanctity of the post should be preserved, and governor should not be treated as political football. Here, what committee is recommending that whenever there is change in the government at the center, immediately the governors of the day would be transferred. They will be transferred or they will be removed from the office. When Narendra Modi government came to power in 2011, many governors have been transferred and many governors had been removed from their offices. They were transferred and removed from the offices. As we know, the regular tenure of the governor the regular tenure of the governor is 5 years. The regular tenure of the governor is 5 years. As we discussed in earlier instance, the session on governor, the office of the governor, tenure of 5 years is up to president's pleasure. That means even before the expiration of 5 years, the governor can be transferred or he can be removed from the office by the president. By the president means by the central government. Yes. The governor will be holding office purely during the pleasure of the president. The commission is saying that this kind of removal, abrupt removal of the governor should be done away with. Hence, constitutional sanctity of this post should be preserved and governor should not be used as political football. Committee recommended a very novel recommendation, that is, the governor should be removed only by an address of state assembly. The governor should be removed only by an address of state assembly. The governor should be appointed by a committee comprising Prime Minister, Speaker of Lok Sabha, Union Home Minister, and Chief Minister of the state concerned. The governor should be appointed by a committee comprising Prime Minister, Speaker of Lok Sabha, Union Home Minister, and Chief Minister of the state concerned. National Integration Council should be strengthened. This is also recommended by Poonchi Commission. With this, we will end our session today, friends. Thank you. On Monday at 11 a.m., we will meet again with some more interesting and important topic. Thank you. Please use my promo code, that is capital KIRAN, and get 10% discount. If you have any doubts, you can contact me on Telegram link polity_with_Kiran Anishetti. Please subscribe to Unacademy YouTube channel. Thank you. Thanks a lot.